All right, man, we're live. Hey, how goes it? Ken Bozak here to talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. And today I'm here with my investor Milton. How goes it?
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? Thank you, Ken, for having me on.
Hey, man, I
I
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it.
No, I appreciate it more, man. Listen, first and foremost, let me apologize here on air for not making the New York City meetup during consensus and everything, man. I just want to get that out of the way and say I am sorry. And this dude put together a meetup. I was supposed to be there, didn't quite make it. And next time I'm in town, man, I'll be sure to be there.
Yeah, man. And anything, I know that you have a meetup over there in Philly, so I definitely got to make it out there. And I definitely, encourage anybody else that hasn't gone to one of Ken Bozak's meetups to just definitely go attend. He has like so many great guests, and he's really, really like good at what
Thanks,
he
man.
does.
Yeah, it's bitcoinphl.com for Philadelphia, Bitcoin PHL. And it's a free meetup. It's sponsored by Monarch Token. They help us with the venue, the food, the drinks, and everything else. And people just there's no real like script. There's nobody that gets on a fucking stage and shills anything. It's just like a bunch of people hanging out, and you see cliques form very naturally. Like, oh, there's like 30, 40 people here that all do crypto stuff, and they form their own little cliques and they work out the things that they came to work out. It's not so much like, oh, today we're going to talk about private keys. So, why don't you let everybody
Yeah,
know a little bit
that's the
about
cool.
yourself? Let them know who you are, how you got into crypto, and what you're doing now in the industry.
So I've been into crypto since 2017, January. Great time to get into crypto. I actually started off with nothing. I was homeless out in the street in Atlanta. I ended up seeing my first Bitcoin ATM at a Chevron in Buckhead, Atlanta, and I was like, wow, like I've never seen any type of ATM other than USD ever in the United States. And so I see my first Bitcoin ATM, huge screen, and I'm like, wow, okay, like I'm really early on to something. And so then I ended up meeting this woman. She ended up becoming my girlfriend at the time, and she gave me $20 to put into the machine. So I put $20 in, made my first wallet, and I received $17 with the Bitcoin. And so I went home and I started researching, and it clicked. I'm like, wow, I understand what this is. So the next day I wake up, and that $17 is worth $21. So I have an entrepreneur mind. So I'm like, if I would have just add a few zeros to that $17, let's say I would have invested 1,700 in one night. I would have made $400 profit. That's what
Right.
people make in a week, of working. So
That
I'm
well,
just like,
that's the investor mindset of making money out of money by putting your money to work for you instead of you going to work.
exactly. So I was like, I'm about to go in on this. So the girlfriend ended up, letting me move in. And she basically told me that I didn't have to pay for rent or anything, food or anything. She was going to look me out for like 6 months. So I ended up being a server at a restaurant called Taverna Buckhead in Buckhead. And I basically was working 7 days a week, double
Damn.
shifts. I was taking everybody's shifts, and whenever no
I'm
one would
coming
give
for
up their
all your
shift,
hours.
yes. And so like it was right down the street from the same Bitcoin ATM that that I basically discovered, Bitcoin
Wow.
with. And so every end of my shift I would take all my tips and I would just shove them in the machine. And I ended up starting doing odd jobs, like doing construction on the side. So 7 days a week, double shifts, two different jobs for 6 months straight. I invested 90% of my income into crypto.
Damn, man, that's a
And
grind, bro. That is a grind. And shout out to the girl for supporting it. And that's just like the right way to help somebody in general too, right? Like, you got to get on your own feet, right? Before you can start helping me help yourself. So like, let me help you help yourself first.
yeah, it was amazing. She was an amazing human being, and
And a
like
Bitcoiner.
yeah, she didn't even understand Bitcoin. I kept trying to explain to her, and that's when I started, because of her and me explaining to her and me falling in love with crypto. I was bothering everybody. I think everyone goes through this when they first discover Bitcoin.
Oh, we
Like,
become like fucking vegans or like fucking Scientologists and shit. We just want to convert everybody.
Yeah. So I was bugging everyone, and everyone was fed up with me. I even went to BitPay, which is headquarters over there in Buckhead, Atlanta at the time, and I was bothering them. I was just knocking on their door during their lunch. They wouldn't let me in, and until the third day, James, the marketing director of BitPay, comes out, and he's like, "What do you want?" He's like, "How can I help you?" Like, and then I'm like, "Listen, I love Bitcoin. I love blockchain. Like, I believe in the movement, man. Like, I want to help. I want to start a campaign out here to win over Buckhead for Bitcoin." And he was like, "I love your enthusiasm, but right now we're trying to get like big companies around the world. Right now we're focused on that. So, we really can't help you, but give me your address, give me your email, and I'll send you over something to help you out in your journey." And I was like, "Oh, that is so cool."
I
So
see you
then
got the BitPay sticker right there, man. I got one of
that's
those
the
on my
same
door.
one.
Yeah.
That's the same one. He gave me a package with like 1,000 of these stickers, and like my first decentralized magazines, like second editions, and like a bunch of stuff to like bring people up. So, I was just so motivated because of BitPay,
That's
and
awesome, man. Like my first Bitcoin ATM I ever ran into was actually at the 7-Eleven right down the street from my apartment that I lived in for years. The Bitcoin ATM has been there forever. I just never noticed it until actually after I got into Bitcoin. But the guy was like, "Yeah, this has been here forever." And I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean? I've been getting slushies or Slurpees here for how did I never notice this thing?" And then Will Richards in the chat said it's amazing how many BTMs have introduced people using crypto, and it is amazing, man. And it makes it more real. Like when people are like, how do you hold Bitcoin? I'm like, well, here's a paper wallet, you're holding Bitcoin. Here's some paper fiat, you're holding some US dollar. Same fucking concept. And it's just like, the little numbers on the dollar bill? That's the public address. They don't give you the private keys. Here's the private key on your Bitcoin paper wallet. Like, and it starts to relate and correspond
that
to
is
things that they understand. So seeing a Bitcoin ATM or a BTM machine, and I kind of want to touch on this too. Is it's funny. I've heard loopholes of companies where they're getting in trouble by calling them Bitcoin ATMs or BTMs and things like that, where they're now starting to call them Bitcoin vending machines instead of like trying to be along the lines of being money. They're like selling you potato chips, Bitcoin, Litecoin. They're trying to get around these regulations by different terminologies, and I think that that's fair. So if you're looking at starting a Bitcoin ATM company, look at it, calling it like a Bitcoin vending machine or a Bitcoin vendor or whatever. I think what is it, Logic? Yeah, Volt Logic. They're the ones that are popping up all over. I see them in like the mall. I see them in tattoo parlors, and they're getting pretty big, man. I like Volt Logic, so definitely keep
I
an eye on
love
them.
them. I love them. I'm actually going to be talking to them. I'm supposed to be talking to them now, actually. And if you guys are watching right now, I'm sorry that I missed our meeting. It's because I started
That
talking
was
with
not a
Ken.
preemptive planned promotion. I just genuinely like Volt Logic.
I love them too. Like I'm gonna be bringing a lot. Hopefully, I'm gonna be bringing a bunch of their BTMs or their vending machines. I mean, sorry.
Right, for real. No,
Over here to
like
Jersey.
yeah, that would be amazing, dude. See one of those in the Cherry Hill Mall, because people can walk up to those, and it's more like a kiosk that you can like pay for your Netflix, your AT&T bill, grab some crypto, buy, sell. It's like a digital commerce machine. It's
Kiosk.
way more than
Right.
what we're used to, but that's because of all the new possibilities with microtransactions and immediate remittance. It's like the Federal Reserve said yesterday that they're going to have Fed Now by the year 2024. We already got Fed Now. It's just called Bitcoin, bitch.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's so exciting right now, the market. Like the whole sphere, the community, everything
Well,
is
you
just
know what though? To
awesome.
touch on the investor mentality of you and to tap into that wealth of knowledge, where do you see the moves right now? Because this space in the past 6 months has actually publicly turned people on their heads. Even people like Tone Vase has been caught like in the wrong more than normal, and other investors, even like Peter Schiff, he's saying Bitcoin's going down here, it's going up. Trump saying Bitcoin is a scam publicly. The first time he ever mentions Bitcoin, he's like it's a scam. Bitcoin goes up. So it's like, where are we at right now in this space? What's it going to take to actually negatively impact Bitcoin? Like it's we're seeing Bitcoin take a lot of these punches, but it just ain't falling.
Yeah, it's just, oh my God. Bitcoin is something that everyone is paying attention to right now. People have been paying attention to it, but a lot of people have more excitement and more acceptance of it now, since it's been in mainstream media for countless times. Can you see me? I'm sorry if
Yeah,
the
no, it works.
connection is telling me it's a little bit. Okay, so yeah, Bitcoin, we're at a point where we're seeing it bubble up. We're seeing more interest in it. We're seeing the infrastructure, the billions of dollars that people like the Winklevoss brothers, and all these people and institutions have been investing in the infrastructure to actually make it more accessible, to people, and the innovation in everything. It's just we're seeing exactly what we were talking about, before I even got into the scene. Everything has happened exactly as everyone had been talking about, wishing the best. And everyone keeps expecting the worst because they just like, oh, I might be wrong, I don't want to look bad. A lot of people are, oh, this is not investment advice. But me, I'm just like, this is the time to really get into crypto, time for Bitcoin. Even if it goes up to 10,000, 20,000, I'm still buying in because I can see what's happening. The thing about it is, I'm in OTC right now, right? I'm doing a bunch of OTC deals in Bitcoin. So I'm seeing this market has changed. A lot of people who missed out on 2017 are not trying to miss out this time. So a lot of people are buying in. But the thing that I'm seeing is there's not a lot of sellers. People are not trying to sell their Bitcoin, especially in big amounts. So there's a lot of buyers out there, and because of all this buying, with people wanting, and there's a demand of buying, I see Bitcoin skyrocketing very soon. The demand is coming. The demand is here. And people are really getting a lot more interested in being involved and not missing out. So the FOMO is about to show.
Yeah, no, and it is showing for sure. And people in the traditional investor side of the, economy, they don't really realize what like that Bitcoin halvening really means. It's a terminology that they quite can't grasp on supply issuance, and supply and demand is going to combat with this Bitcoin halvening pretty strongly to where a lot of people don't realize that there's different Bitcoin with different prices. You have virgin Bitcoin, Bitcoin that's never been forked, it's pretty old. You have Bitcoin that comes fresh from a miner. It's untransacted Bitcoin. That is more valuable than a Bitcoin that you could get from Coinbase. And Bitcoin that you get on the deep web is a lot cheaper because it's a lot harder to get rid of. And so Bitcoin has these different prices on different types of Bitcoin to where the supply will be coming, like you said, less from the traders. There's a lot less selling. So the sellers will have to be the miners who have to get cash to pay the electric bills and their employees, X, Y, and Z. They're going to be the ones selling. That's the more expensive Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's going to start hitting that premium shelf that when you go to the bar and you're like, give me that top shelf, that's all the fucking bar is going to have for a while because all the people that are hodling aren't going to be trading. There's other active ways to make money or make more Bitcoin off of holding Bitcoin in different ways. Like, you don't just sit with your fiat under your mattress and say, oh, but I got my private keys. They're right there under my mattress. Well, how's that making you more money sitting there? If you have Bitcoin, I remember Poloniex years ago, 2 days, you could do 2%, 2 day reoccurring loans. You could make 2% every 2 days on your Bitcoin loans. And that's how you would make passive income from just holding Bitcoin. I use Celsius Network now. So, like, I don't know, like, there's so many ways. And when people from the traditional investor world realize that they could make money off of money by it being money, and then hopefully some crazy asshole makes another fork of Bitcoin and that pumps and you can dump the shitcoin for more Bitcoin.
Yep, just like Bcat. I mean Bitcoin Cash.
B
Back
no,
in
you meant
2000.
Bcash.
That was a beautiful come up. It went up to like $1,000. If people who really had a bunch of, hodled a bunch of crypto, yeah, I mean Bitcoin, specifically, they did really well, and then
That's
they were
funny,
able to
man. You're
compound
right.
their Bitcoin.
Well,
You
I
know.
kind of did that way too soon. I dumped my Bitcoin Cash at the moment I was able to. I did it on a live stream. I did like a 15-hour live stream because I didn't want to miss the exact moment I could dump that coin for Bitcoin, and then I kind of tracked it. So I actually made more money, even though Bitcoin Cash went from 300 to about 1,000, 1,100, something like that. Bitcoin went at the time from, I think it was like 7 or 8 all the way up to 20, and then had its little dip. But I made more on the immediate dump of Bitcoin Cash than I did off of just waiting to ride it up, because in Sats, you almost always lose. If you're looking at dollars, you might feel like you're winning, but if you're looking at satoshis, you realize you're losing the race with the 2 steps forward, 1 step back, pace.
Definitely. And I wanted to touch on something that you said earlier about miners and how, they're going to be the only source really of like
Yep.
Bitcoin in these upcoming years. Like there are so many, if you look at the market for mining and stuff, there are so many mining companies that are springing up. Like right now, I just found out about like a green mining project called like Elite Mining. So they're 94% like all reusable energy, clean energy or whatnot, and they're actually giving out an equity token.
Oh,
So
cool.
that also shows me like the STOs and the security tokens, they're going to be a big thing, to bring on a lot of these traditional investors. And there's a lot of opportunity in them too for people who are accredited investors and stuff. So it's like there's so much going on in the mining sector. Like right now I'm also working like with BlockTech, a network. I don't know if you heard of them yet. Like they're actually in Shenzhen. They have a whole mining project that they're doing over there. And it's a real big business right now to sell miners. You know, like it's really awesome time.
It's going
It's
to
a
be a
really
crazy market. I mean, looking at where esports is headed and mining, these fucking graphics cards are going to be unobtainable. It's going to be a ridiculous fee for a while. And I think what we're going to see, and this is like my tinfoil hat, but like predictive tinfoil hat, but I think we're going to see like Nvidia or a lot of these companies otherwise that make these components become some of the biggest miners themselves, because they're sitting there with all these and they're like, well, why would we sell this when we could use it and then sell whatever we have left, and a lot of these big companies are going to become the bigger majority miners, because they're not going to want to sell you the pickaxe forever. They realize that this isn't the gold rush era where people say, oh, you want to be the guy selling the pickaxe, you don't want to be no, that's not right. This pickaxe digs gold on its own. It does all the work for you. You don't have to sit there and dig up. You just have a pick and it comes back with gold sometimes, right? So, and then we have to look at these universities, right? Like big college campuses, or even these, they have scientific facilities that work with these giant, massive brain computers that are there to solve mathematical equations for space travel or ailments, diseases, things like that. It runs a lot of algorithms. Well, they have a lot of downtime. And that's a big facility that could be otherwise, mass mining cryptocurrencies. So I think we're going to see a lot of more mainstream competition come in, especially since we're seeing banks publicly announce that they're playing with this. The Federal Reserve is running full nodes. The IRS is looking into how lightning channels work, because, everybody wants to figure this out, and they're going to realize this is all inclusive. Crypto's so inclusive that wherever you get in, you fit in. That's where you contribute. But you can't force Bitcoin to accept what you contribute to it. You can just kind of get in where you fit in. I think that's where all these legacy, corporations and government entities are going to figure out, like, we're a bank, this is our job, fuck, we're going to run nodes, or we're going to have giant lightning channels, and hey, we're the IRS, maybe we should take control of some of these smart contracts for the transaction fees and X, Y, and Z.
Yes, yeah, I totally agree. Like right now, education is huge around the world, like for blockchain and Bitcoin. So
Yep.
it's like here in New Jersey, where I'm based right now, like I'm working with Crypto Night and New Jersey Blockchain, and we're basically doing an education campaign, going and doing like some events and contests for students in high school and colleges throughout New Jersey. And we're teaming up with eToro. We're teaming up with Satoshi School,
Oh, that's
and
dope.
we're gonna be, throwing contests, and we're gonna join all the colleges and schools and these crypto clubs and everything together at NJIT. And we're just focused on education, and also like with block tech. I'm gonna be helping lead alongside what's it called? My colleague Daniel. We're gonna be leading education over there in New York City. We're going to be tying all the boroughs together. We're going to bring in all the crypto enthusiasts and everything together, and we're going to be working out of WeWorks. And yeah, we're going to be focused on education, on trading, on just basically just education, because that's huge right now. The more people that are coming in, they should be more educated in knowing what really is going on in the space, and why is this so important, and why is it that all these important people that are creating the future are talking about it and getting more involved. Why are governments so afraid of this? Why is Trump speaking about it? Like we're
Yeah, look
trying
what the
to.
Federal Reserve is doing, man. That is a last ditch effort of relevancy. Is Fed now?
Yeah, and the Fed's been in crypto for a while. Like you see
Yep.
freaking USDC coin, which is done by Goldman Sachs, who's regulated by the Fed. They've been indirectly in the market, in the cryptocurrency market for a few years now. You know, and like you're mentioning OTC again. Like last year, I stopped with OTC, because OTC was a bunch of waste of time. But what I learned was firsthand is that there's a lot of information gatherers. They're trying to put identities on the people who have coin, who are trying to sell massive amount of coin.
Yep.
So they're coming up with fake buyers, and they're like, hey, we want to buy. And then they hire these attorneys, and they don't pay their attorneys. And the attorneys do all this work, and then they get turned off because the deal never happens. And these people got proof of coin and didn't do anything with it, and they just ran away and disappeared. So like these people are really the feds, and everybody are involved in the space. We might not see them, as we do now. They're showing their face now more, but it's crazy. This just validates all the hard work and all the sacrifices that the community so far has been making.
Yep.
All this attention, it's amazing. We know it's going to succeed now. Like it's inevitable. So
Yeah,
it's
we
like a time
passed
to
the make or
celebrate.
break moment a year ago. That make or break moment was about a year ago, I believe, when we fell from the 20,000 to 3,000, and where we've seen, just not saying price really matters, because Bitcoin could go to $1 a Bitcoin. It doesn't decrease the quality of the
Así es.
technology behind it. Like, yeah, if it went to $1, Bitcoin's tech would still work as well as it does. The price doesn't really reflect the quality of the tech. In my opinion, it's way undervalued price wise. If you look at the technological aspects of it, it's way undervalued. But that is why it's an early opportunity moment, right? Like, people haven't realized the utility of this asset. It's like, gold was only a speculative asset at first, right? It was only there because it was shiny, it looked pretty, maybe some people could make it into jewelry. But now, as we've seen technology work its way into the market, it increases the value of gold, because we have computers, graphics chips, X, Y, and Z, smartphones all use a little pieces of gold in it. So as we found how do we appreciate this thing that we've been given? How do we utilize this asset? And we found how to utilize gold more and more as the years go on in different areas, from dental, pharmaceutical, blah blah blah, to technology. Bitcoin's going to do the same thing. It's going to realize that it can touch all of these industries, right? With smart contracts, payment transfers. It's just public ledger for the fucking immutable data. It's so underutilized that it's just, give it some time for these companies to figure out how do they appreciate it, how do they incorporate it, because the internet wasn't always incorporated into everything. And now I haven't gone out to eat because Uber Eats isn't a thing that exists, and I can get ice cream or blunts or t-shirts delivered to my front door. We're living in the future, man. We're
Yeah.
just waiting for everyone else to catch up. That's how I see it.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel too. It's like we're so far ahead right now, and it's like we're living in the moment, but the moment is in the future. It's so weird. Um, and it's like it's so awesome right now, and people don't really understand how young the internet is. Like this solves a problem that is epic. Like scarcity, digital scarcity, that is something that is just no one has even thought of
I'm
before.
waiting for the entertainment industry to
NFTs.
get their hands on that. They don't understand what they're doing, but like, the entertainment industry hates piracy. Okay, well, put it on a fucking blockchain and make the media player a wallet. And in order to watch the fucking file, you have to connect to the server, the blockchain, to prove that you have the private key. Nobody will share a private key with anybody because they would just transfer that file to another wallet, giving it a new private key and stealing it from the seed pool. Like, piracy can be combated with blockchain technology if they fucking understood it. And then we see, what Justin Sun's doing with BitTorrent. He's incentivizing piracy with reward systems. So he's like one step ahead of the game.
And that's the cool part, because it's like blockchain and like Bitcoin is just unbiased. There's nobody controlling it, nobody saying, yo, we don't welcome you, no.
Dude, I've heard some crazy panels, man. Not say crazy, I guess this, for my perspective, right? White, straight, male in America, blah, blah, blah. But, like, I've seen so many diversity panels where people say Bitcoin needs more diversity. Blockchain needs more diversity. It's the most diverse entity thing that exists. It has no biasness. You could be anonymous. You could be a 12-year-old girl. Nobody would know that you're the best coder for Bitcoin Core. Nobody. So it doesn't, if you feel like you're being, if there's biasness in Bitcoin, then, I just can't see it. Bitcoin is not biased, dude. Bitcoin doesn't work for this because of that. No, it does. It can work for the adult industry. It can work for the entertainment industry. It can work for the health industry. It can work for you personally or for you corporately. It's like fucking Jet Li's like Be Like Water, or Bruce Lee, Be Like Water. Bitcoin is that. Bitcoin's like, all right, Bruce, I got you. Watch this. You pour Bitcoin into this, it becomes that.
Yes, I love Bitcoin. That's why it just changed my life, and I wanted to change so many other people's lives. And it's gonna change everyone's lives. It already did, Like we are part of a generation where we lived before the internet. We're the last to live before the internet, the last to live before Google, the last to live before smartphones. That shows you how early on we are in the future.
Right?
The future people are not going to be able to think like,
we're only
what
at
is life without the
13.5 million people in Bitcoin. 13.5 million people fuck with Bitcoin. Out of 8 billion people, 13.5 million fucks with it. Like, that's...
And did you know 50% of all Americans have heard about Bitcoin right now?
Yeah, now.
50%.
Now. And I feel like we could straight up hand up to Satoshi. You can thank the Winklevoss twins. For real. They made that shit mainstream, like Kleenex to tissue. I saw the Bitcoin buses all over New York City. There's some in New Jersey. I see some Gemini on the highway. I see billboards. I'm like, yo, like the Winklevoss are making this so normal now that people aren't so afraid of it, because that's what the media did. They made it such a taboo that 5 years ago, if you said you had Bitcoin, immediate thought to the person that you said it to is, oh, do you buy child porn or drugs? Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Now, if you say, hey, I have some Bitcoin, you're like, yo, do you have like house property? Do you do real estate? Like, what else are you into?
It's evolving so much, and in the future, people are gonna be like, "Wow, you have a whole Bitcoin!" Like,
they exist.
That is gonna be
that exists.
Too. Like, what? Like, people still have that? Like, yeah, you must be a different class.
Right. No, and that's the thing with the paradigm shift. It will be a different class. I do worry about that, the next 1%, like, we're still going to have a wealth distribution issue, considering the fact that, again, there's only 13.5 million people in Bitcoin, with 8 billion people potentially about to dip a toe, and 2 billion on the sideline with Facebook alone. And then we have Jack Dorsey endorsing it with Cash App and Twitter. That's another billion or so people. Like, there's a lot of people about to just roll into this, even if they don't even choose to, right? It's just going to happen for them. So the people that are in now may have a really big potential of becoming the next, the next Rothschild, the next, fucking Rockefeller, the next 1%ers. And I'm excited to see what that does, because when you look at people that come from poverty, come into money, they get wealthy, the amount of contribution that they give back to the fucking community is 100x over any politician that you will ever vote into place of power. You could give somebody money like a politician, or you could have somebody in your community that earns it give back so much more. And that's where I think this next paradigm shift, we're going to see some crazy charitable contributions, worldwide relief efforts, because there's so much money in the pockets of the rich that just sit there and control. And people in Bitcoin know that if you're the one with all the Bitcoin, it's worth nothing. The more you get it out there, the more your Bitcoin's worth. If you have 2 Bitcoin and you give away 1 Bitcoin very strategically all around, you spread that, it will increase the value of your 1 Bitcoin more than the two ever were together.
Yes.
And this next
Yes.
1%, they're gonna understand that about the future economy. It's not a debt-based fiat economy. This is unheard of. We're gonna wait for vernaculars and words and descriptions and definitions be created because of this technology.
Yes, and you know how the people are making so much profit and everything, and they're hodling, and all these people that do have a lot of the crypto, they're gonna have to give it up, a lot of it, so that they can have their profit in this time period, because a lot of people still want to use fiat. People are gonna want to take out profits in fiat. They want to, they not a lot of people are gonna hold throughout this whole thing, and those people who do hold, those people are gonna really be the 1%, you know. And a lot of these companies, you know, even the Winklevosses, they sell their big BTC, they invest their BTC. These miners, like you said before, you know, the miners have to sell their BTC in order to just continue to survive and to live.
Yep.
So I feel like this system is actually like Satoshi really thought it out so well that it's like they're forced to redistribute this wealth anyways within the blockchain and Bitcoin community, you know. So
Right.
it's I'm really interested in seeing how everything turns out. You know, who really
Somebody
will.
actually had a question for you, man. They want to know, what do you think about the next 2 years? Which altcoins will die? I say all of them.
Yeah,
All of them.
it's crazy time for altcoins because they're just gonna be overshadowed. You know,
Yep.
they're just gonna be like by Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm just because of the things that I know that's going on. You know, I'm just like, yo, Ethereum has too much backing, too much corporate backing. You know, they have so much infrastructure made, and they're so hush hush right now that we don't even know where they're really at. You know, like so like the two projects that are freaking worth paying attention to, you know, altcoins are there to take away your attention from
Yep.
them. Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two guaranteed investments, you know, and this is investment advice if people want to take it that way, whatever. Those two are guaranteed to do very well in the future, and I'm so confident in that I'll say it. You know, a lot of people will not. A lot of people will be like, "Oh, this is not investment advice." You know, I'm telling you right now, a lot of people will not tell you. It's guaranteed. If you get into Bitcoin or Ethereum, eventually you will make a profit. You know.
Well, I mean, I don't see the US dollar gaining value anytime soon. So, if the longer you hold your dollars, the less Bitcoin you'll be able to buy. The more you hold your Bitcoin, the longer you hold your Bitcoin, the more US dollars you'll be able to buy back. And if you dollar cost average, which is, you take that amount of money that you want to invest and you spread it out through maybe a 52 week, a year, 12 months, however you want to get in, maybe every Friday when you get paid or every first of the month or whatever. Dollar cost average your way into any investment. Really, you never want to go all in because you have a set buy and a loss and a profit point. Instead of if you were to dollar cost average in when Bitcoin went to 20,000 down to 3,000, you would have a different mentality. You would be excited now. Hey, Bitcoin's at 3,000, yay! Because you're dollar cost averaging in. You're now buying some at a less price. It doesn't matter if the previous price made you a loss. When now it breaks even, when Bitcoin goes back up to 20, those moments where you were at a loss, you're now broke even and at a profit on your newer investments. So you have a different mentality of how you look at things depending on how you get into them, right? Like you dip a toe or you can cannonball and have a lot of regrets because it was way colder than you expected.
Yeah, and that's exactly, you know, how I was, you know, during 2017. You know, I was investing every single day at the end of every shift. I was putting absolutely everything that I had. I'm not saying that everyone should do this. I'm just crazy,
I
you
did the
know.
same shit, man. I went all in, man. It was wild. It was a wild ride those few years. I mean, I've been doing this for 3 now.
And I haven't stopped. I'm still doing the same thing. You know, I'm still putting all my money in. I'm still putting 90%. I'm putting even more than 90% of my income and everything into crypto. It's because I know later on, all this fiat, you can have all the fiat in the world. It does not guarantee you that you will be able to buy Bitcoin. Like, that is just not going to happen. You know, like, it's a limited supply. So it's like if you're selling and you're trading and you're day trading and stuff like that, you can make a lot of money right now day trading and stuff. But in the future, you will regret it because you will not have access to that same amount of Bitcoin that you once had. Like
It
it's just
physically
not gonna
won't, or
happen.
metaphysically, it won't exist, right?
It
It just,
won't.
there isn't
Yeah.
enough. Somebody wants to know if we have any strategy for buy, hold, or trade. I feel like we just covered some of that, but I will touch on some passive points of altcoins. A lot of people think, they just want to actively trade altcoins, right? Like, I want to buy my altcoins low, I want to sell my altcoins high, and I want to buy back more Bitcoin. Well, there's passive ways of doing that where you could stake certain coins, you could run a master node, you could run a part of a pool or something. There's other ways and other things that you could do with a lot of these altcoins that passively earn you Satoshis and Bitcoin, right? So if you're a fan of a project and you want to support them by holding them, well, maybe you can loan them out. Depending on what coin it is, Celsius Network, you can loan multiple different types of cryptocurrencies and earn back Bitcoin. So you don't have to really be more on top of your trade. You can be like, all right, oh, well, I want to hold 1,000 Tron or 10,000 or whatever, $1,000 worth of Tron, but it's worth $1,200 worth of Bitcoin now. Do I sell $200 worth of it? Why don't you just start loaning it out, right? And that way you get to have your cake and eat it too. A lot of people don't realize in this new era economy that you can have your cake and eat it too by staking, by loaning, by running nodes, things like that, by contributing. There's even different networks have like sponsored transaction fees. So like depending if somebody's sending an altcoin and it charges them that other bottom line asset, say like Ethereum is the bottom line for the ICO's ERC20 altcoin or whatever. If you wanted to send that to somebody, you have to pay gas that's in ETH. Well, I could sponsor that transaction fee. I could pay that ETH for you and charge you in some of the altcoins you're trying to send. There's so many different ways, man. Do you have any
Wow.
specific ways that
I
you're
didn't know
kind of
that.
looking at this space of how to make more crypto out of your crypto by what it's designed to do, like Dash, Masternode,
Ash
Decred,
Masternode's
Stake?
freaking awesome. Like, and you can actually get a loan from like Salt Lending,
Yep.
and you could as your stake your Dash or your Cardano or your Neo or your Ontology. You can take out a loan for maybe like $100,000 or something like that, depending on where you're at, and you can invest more into Bitcoin, and you could keep compounding and
Yep.
compounding. Now Salt Lending is actually doing loans, so any projects out there that are really trying to get any funding or anything, they're working on helping the space too. I love what Salt Lending is doing,
Same. Same.
and how they're so into like education, non-custodial. Right now they just did their non-custodial exchange right now, which is freaking epic.
Yep.
They're partnered with Key, so it's like they're really into security, they're really into the community. Eric Voorhees and that team is just amazing. you know um they're actually going to be working with like miners now as well. Like they're working with Elite Mining, as I mentioned before. Elite Mining is freaking awesome. I'm just like, there's so much beautiful things that are going on in the space, and you can definitely like stake security. So like if you're into security tokens, as it's
Yep. You
like
can get those dividends.
get them dividends. You just hold on, you have class B common stock, so you're going to be getting dividends, and it's smart contracts that are paying them out, so you don't even have to worry about a person manipulating everything or just taking long to pay out dividends or someone making a mistake. You can just trust the program, you could just trust the smart contract. And I think that's really cutting edge. That is something that people are going to be needing. And like we were talking about before, like you can even do what's it called, the master nodes are going to be helping secure your favorite project,
And you can now get
helping.
fraction masternodes. You don't have to have a whole masternode
What?
now. Yeah, dude,
I
Swarm
didn't know
Fund.
that.
Swarm.fund a while
Oh
ago,
yeah,
they
yeah.
tokenized Dash masternodes. So you could have one Dash coin, token, whatever the fuck, and you could be part of a masternode system now. So it's really cool how they're figuring out more ways to be inclusive, right? Because a lot of people were like, masternodes are elitist, it's not really crypto, it's not for the people. I'm like, well, now you can have fraction masternodes. You can have a piece of it, a part of it. And I think that that's really powerful to be inclusive. And I did want to touch on your comment, Gamer Andy. He said Bitcoin does not solve every problem. We need other cryptocurrencies, i.e. alts, to serve different tech or different tasks tech-wise. It's not just about investing. That's true. How I see this, though, is that these altcoins, this is like a bumper sticker. Anything your altcoin can do, Bitcoin can do better. Anything your shitcoin can do, Bitcoin can do best. No, it can't. Yes, it can. No, it can't. Yes, it can, dude. Anything these altcoins can do, if truly decentralized, if truly public source, right? So you can audit the codes. If true crypto, it will be incorporated, it will be engulfed, it will be digested by Bitcoin and utilized by it. We see Bitcoin Core do this over time repeatedly, from inspirations from fucking Litecoin, inspirations from Dash, inspirations from even Bitcoin Cash have inspired Bitcoin to keep growing and adopting. So if there is an altcoin that does serve its tasks tech-wise, it will just be then done better by Bitcoin over time. So all these altcoins are just like proofs of concept, in my opinion. They're all concept cars, right? Like a concept alt. And if the concept proves to be a good prototype, then you'll see the actual release, the alpha release on Bitcoin Core. Because Bitcoin Core has the best developers. There's no argument about that. There is no, oh, let's do it like a fucking poll on Twitter and find out who has the best devs. No. The facts are Bitcoin Core has the best developers in technology, period. And they're being poached. And they're not going anywhere because they're part of the 1%ers who don't need the fucking money from the poachers. So that's where I think we're going to see a lot of these decentralized exchanges pop up and a lot of these decentralized marketplace and things like that, because of these developers having so much free time and not wanting to contribute to corporate entities, right? They want to keep contributing to decentralization. That's their core objective. So we do need altcoins, but we only need them as petri dishes. Like Litecoin serves one of the best nuclear testing facilities for Bitcoin code. Litecoin was like, hey, we're gonna try the SegWit thing out, and Bitcoin was like, all right, well, they put the glasses on, they got behind the fucking glass, and they're like, oh shit, Litecoin survived, let's try it. And it, you know, we got SegWit. Same things happening with Lightning and everything else. And oh yeah, Will, you're right, Rootstock will be changing the game, bro. Keep your eyes out on RSK. These smart contracts, Bitcoin will clip this, somebody save this, timestamp it. Bitcoin's blockchain will host more ICO type launched altcoins than any other blockchain. Add it the fuck up. Tron, fucking EOS, Neo, Ethereum, add them all up. Every shitcoin that has been created on that blockchain, there will be an abundance more on top of Bitcoin's blockchain. We just don't have that yet because it's not. You've seen what happened with the DAO on Ethereum. You're seeing what happens with these altcoins on these, like with CryptoKitties and Ethereum. Bitcoin's just watching a lot of these altcoins experiment with nuclear fucking waste. And whatever survives, they're going to be like, well, that's safe. Let's do that. So just give it another year or two tops, and we'll be seeing the first ICO launched on Bitcoin's blockchain. And I hope that it's more like a color coin where they burn one Bitcoin, poof, to generate X amount of shitcoin. That would be how I'd like to see it, but I highly doubt we'll see that happen. But I love color coins. Have you ever played with any of those? Like, you know, coins that people have actually had to demolish Bitcoin in order to create. It's amazing.
I didn't know that. That is such an interesting concept. I'm definitely going to look more into that. Colored coins.
Yeah,
That's
the more
awesome.
I learned about Bitcoin, right, the more I became like an altcoin, more of like an altcoin maximalist. And then the more I learned about altcoins, I went back to being a Bitcoin maximalist. So I kind of went like full circle. I just was like, I was all Bitcoin, and then I was like, wait, no, I got my alts here, you know, and then I was like, wait, no, it all goes back to Bitcoin. Like it's the circle of life, and Bitcoin is the circle.
Yeah, definitely. Wow.
Before I let you go, though, I do want to grab some of your, like, we were touching on education and stuff, and maybe some of the things like people commonly do, or, you know, kind of most common mistakes, or any mistakes maybe you've made or people you know, and help people kind of avoid those mistakes by getting them, you know, because it's better to learn from spectating than firsthand in this. A lot of people like to learn hands on and make their own mistakes and kind of learn from their own mistakes. But when you're doing this financially speaking, you probably want to spectate and learn from others' mistakes first. So, what were some of your, like, common do's and don'ts for people when you start talking about crypto?
So make sure that you do not have your private keys on your laptop or your phone. All right. Make sure that you keep them separate, keep them offline. All right. Make sure you secure them. Buy yourself a hardware wallet or get a mental freaking brain wallet. They're 12 words. So just memorize these 12 words and you will never have to worry about anybody stealing your wallet or your
Open Dime.
keys.
Open Dime, I think, is the best for noobs. It really is. It looks like a little flash drive. It's on your fucking keychain. If you lose this, you lose all your money. And people are like, so if I lose my wallet, like, yeah, if you lose your wallet with all your cash in it, that cash is gone. You lose this Open Dime, your Bitcoin is gone. That way they don't have to worry about somebody running into their private keys.
Yeah. And like just pay attention, educate yourself, learn like what these scams are going on, phishing schemes. Make sure you pay attention to the addresses that you're sending your funds to. Double check, triple check, so that that you're not sending it to someone else, because they do these things where they take over your clipboard, and you can be copying and pasting, but you might be pasting a whole other address, which is really crazy.
It happens
And
a
so
lot more
pay
than we
attention.
notice.
Yes, and pay attention, to the phishing schemes. Pay attention to the websites that you're on. Make sure you're on the official websites. Pay
Even
attention
official
to.
websites can be sketchy. Look what happened with Binance with their hack recently, man.
Yeah,
That's an
that's
official
crazy.
website that people thought they were securely, submitting KYC, and now you can go on Facebook right now. Go to Facebook, look up Binance Hack Group, and there's a group on Facebook selling passports right now.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
it's
crazy.
insane. It's insane.
That is crazy.
So,
But
and I
that's
did
why.
want to touch on something somebody said in the chat. Will said to back up your keys and all that. I actually would like to encourage people to learn more about how to add additional protocols to secure your private keys. It's called BIP 138 encryption. You could actually put your own password on top of your private keys. So if you were to be like, hey, Ken, here's a picture of my private keys, and now I see all 12 or 24 words, if I go to recover them, it will ask me for the password that you put on top of it.
That is awesome. I've never learned that. So now I just learned something. I've learned so much from this conversation. You're awesome, Ken.
Hey man, I appreciate it, dude, and that's what I try to do. I just try to nerd out, and say the things I wish I knew immediately. Sometimes, like I've had issues with brain wallets and stuff, and paper wallets and private keys, and I've gone through it all. So like I want to be the person people can learn from by spectating, and if I could save somebody their own headache by having a headache that I kind of publicly showed you how I got around, then that's really all I want, man. That's kind of why I started talking about BitConnect being a scam publicly. Was like, yeah, this is dumb. Like I've been scammed before. How do people not see the copy paste scam here? And I do want to touch on this because I think it's interesting, right? Where we're at in the space right now, where we're starting to see scams again. There was a whole year because of the Bitcoin winter. There was no scams. There was no send eth here. There was not an abundance of phishing. We saw the what were those, like the
Bots.
WannaCry viruses and things like that. Those they kind of went away. The bots are all dead because they can't afford to run them. But now that we're seeing this price movement, this price action is actually incentivizing, scammers to get back into the game. So we're seeing these sharks, get back in the water circling our crypto boats. Oh, wait, we lost him? There he goes. He's back.
Okay.
There we go. I was just getting around to saying, like, where the space is right now, you can kind of see that there is a big, a big interest leap, right? Because when we start to see high volumes of these scammers, we start to see high action prices and price movement, right? Like it kind of correlates. It's kind of like a side effect of market movement. So when we start to see healthy market movement, we start to see these scammers pop up. So the more I see scammers, the more I'm like, I'm long Bitcoin. Like, if I start to see scammers less, I'm like, well, maybe Bitcoin might have a, I don't know. But it's like instant verification as soon as I start to see these tweets again and send ETH here and the, like my Ether wallet used to be fucking phished like every day. You would try to go to my Ether wallet and it would just take you to another website that looked just like it, but they were phishing your private keys. That hasn't happened until recently again. So you're right. Definitely, please, guys, be aware of these scams. But don't take it as a sign of weakness that Bitcoin is weak or Bitcoin is being hacked. It's actually a sign that this environment's so healthy that we have fresh meat and these wolves are out to eat, and that's all these scammers are. So I get more confident about the space the more I see these bad actors come in. And then I'd like to say, like, again, we're at 13 million people. That's nothing. We're not going to see less scams in the future. We're going to see more because there's still going to be new and new and new people every single day that don't understand that, you know, this is a phishing scam, or they're being targeted by those, you know, what do they call those, key loggers, right? They're logging your keys and stuff on your clipboard. So definitely keep your eye out on that, man. It's been a wild
And
ride.
also, like, for accumulated and every, can you hear me?
Yeah, for some reason it went out.
So for everybody who is in crypto already and has accumulated their Bitcoins in crypto and altcoins and everything and have done good, you also have to be safe. Do not go around telling people what you do, how long you've been into crypto and everything like that to everybody, because I just had a scenario in Miami where I got kidnapped, right, by
You
human
got
traffickers.
kidnapped.
Right? So like,
Fuck that, dude.
yeah, so
That's my
like,
exit to Bitcoin. If somebody fucking kidnaps me, I'm going all in on fiat. Nobody wanted my fiat. Nobody.
like it was crazy. Like it was people who were really like working me, you know, like we were hanging out for like 3 days, we were partying, you know, it was cool. I was staying at a hostel, you know, because I
Oh
like people,
fuck.
you know.
This is like a
So
Netflix movie. Holy shit.
so like they were working me, but it was crazy because I'm the one that got them on on their radar, you know, because they were talking business and I just went up to them and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" I introduced myself and then, you know, they wanted to get to know me more. They linked me on LinkedIn, looked at my Instagram, everything, and apparently, you know, I ended up becoming a target, and then they roofied me or whatnot and
Oh shit.
separated me from the group that we were with. And then basically, you know, they we were going 5 minute drive away to another hostel for the guy that I was with to get clothes so that we were about to go have dinner with our group from the hostel. And freaking before then, we all took shots of some Peruvian, I mean Peruvian liquor. And the next thing I know, I'm in the back seat. I'm just hanging out on my laptop using my Wi-Fi. But then I start realizing, because I was really messed up for some reason. Like it really messed me up, and I'm like, what the heck? And I'm just looking around, like so groggy, so like zoned out and everything. And then I'm looking out the window, and I realize, hey, we've been driving for like 30 or 40 minutes. And then I'm like, wait a minute, where are we going? And then I'm like, wait, I don't know where I am. And then I'm just like, wait, why do I feel like this right now? And then I'm just like, I'm listening to them now. Their whole character and everything changed up. You know, the vibe changed in the car.
Damn, dude, we just lost Milton, but that's scary as fuck, man. Yeah, dude, that's where you become a honeypot, a human honeypot, and that's where the wrench method is more of a useful tool than actually trying to hack you, right? Like it takes a lot of time and effort to hack your computer or to hack your phone or to scam you and phish you over the internet. But when you put yourself out there in the physical world, you know, the holding a gun to your head, you know, is a lot more effective than holding your social media account hostage, right? When people get their Twitter accounts hacked and they say, "Send me Bitcoin and I'll give you back your Twitter account." Damn, dude. Yeah, that's scary. That's some scary shit. Hopefully we can get him back. He has the link to the chat. Hopefully, he can call us back and finish that story. Obviously, it turned out okay, but I want to figure out like I have some questions. Like, dude, where the fuck were you? Like, were you in New Jersey when this happened? Does this shit happen in New Jersey? Fuck, bro. I live in New Jersey. Me and this dude live not too far from each other. I want to know what happened. Let me see if I can get him back. Is he in the chat? Alright, I sent him a message on Twitter. I've heard of this happening a few times, though, man, throughout my life in this space. You know, the past 3 years, I've heard of people, getting their houses broken into and being held at gunpoint, or having threatening pictures sent to their house, like of their kids getting on the school bus type shit. And it says send Bitcoin here, or like little Susie might not make it home from school or some shit. Like it gets crazy, and that's in any space really. If you're a big advocate or a potential honeypot, like in the cannabis world, a lot of people that are big growers and big suppliers of cannabis, they're not public about it, right? Yeah, don't joke like that, Will. Don't joke like that, because he's not replying back on Twitter. Where the fuck? Maybe his power went out or something, man. I might wrap things up, and maybe we'll have a part 2 with investor Milton one day. Bitcoin pumping to 13K soon. All right, so here's my feelings on large price movements. What goes up must come down. It is true to the physical world as the metaphysical investing world, right? So just be prepared, right, for momentary dips, things like that, price corrections, any signs of linear movements. You want to keep your eyes on the market when it's up this much in such a short period of time, only because there is a lot of money right now involved in the space, and it's not all long-term strong hands hodl. A lot of it is to make US dollar, and there are whales out there. You can keep your eye on the sell orders, keep your eyes on the books, see what you got in buy orders, and just try to keep an eye on the volume of those, and you can kind of predict if you're going to be in a good position, right, to kind of sell high, buy low. I'm not saying do that shit, but this is when you see large price movements like this is like the perfect wave for a surfer when he's at the beach, man. You're sitting there looking out at the ocean and you're just like, man, I could be catching some gnarly waves. You could go out and catch those waves, and you could stay on the beach and spectate. So it depends on where you're at in your investments and knowledge. Oh, I waited, and I fucking filibustered long enough. We got him back. Dude, I was filibustering. I did good. All right, awesome. So first question is, was this in New Jersey? Where the hell were you when this happened?
This was in Miami.
Oh, fuck. Everything. I feel like I should have guessed Florida. I feel like all these fucking Florida.
Yeah, it was in Florida. It was in Miami. I was over there for Mining Disrupt, which has nothing to do with me being kidnapped. Mining Disrupt was awesome. I learned so much about the miners and everything, and it was awesome. But when this happened, right? I ended up basically realizing that I was in a bad spot. Like out of nowhere, like this divine intervention came, and I sobered up for like 10 seconds, and I just had this feeling like, run. This is your only last opportunity. Run. And so then I grabbed my stuff, and then as the car was going into the garage, I jumped out the car. The door was unlocked, and they didn't put no child safety locks or nothing. So I just jumped out the moving car and I ran. They chased me for like 2 seconds, and then they realized that they were out in public, and they just went back. And then I would just kept running. And then after a while, I'm like, okay, they stopped chasing me. I could walk. But I remembered the car and everything. I didn't call the police or anything because I was like, I do not want to just like be involved with that type of thing right there because
I'm not the one to say call the popo, but you should
I know,
probably.
but the thing about it was that they have my information and they're everywhere. So like I was fearful for my safety type thing, you know, even like they knew where I was. They took my debit card, you know, they had my information online. They were watching me, you know, and I know that there's a lot of human trafficking stuff in New York City, in New Jersey, in LA, in Atlanta, in Nevada. I've got like hints and whiffs of the activity out there, and I just didn't want to, you know, I did not want to just get involved in none of that and become a target, you know. So
Damn,
I was
bro.
just,
Well, I wouldn't be going back to Miami anytime soon. Fuck Florida, bro. They got gators and pedophiles out there. There ain't nothing to fucking go to Florida for. Nothing.
well, there's a great crypto community out there, you know, and I'll definitely still go out to Miami. So much good stuff, you know, just because this one bad experience, you know, I'm not gonna let, you know, things happen. And you know, if I see these people in person again over there in the hospital, best believe, because they stopped showing up and whatever, so best believe I will bring it to the attention of the people there. I did bring it to the attention of the hostel itself. You know, the hostel
Okay.
itself, you know, like I did say something, you know, like I was telling people, you know, it's just that I just didn't reach out to the police because I didn't want to go. I was already
Well,
I was
then you're
already
gonna be like, well, how much
on,
Bitcoin do you have?
you know, so like
We
I
just
didn't
need
want.
to know how much Bitcoin you have so we know how much protection to provide you. I mean, if you
Yeah,
only have like zero point zero 0.01 Bitcoin, we don't have to have a SWAT team out front. But if you got like 100 Bitcoin, we could have the SWAT team out there making sure you're safe. Just let us know.
you know, I didn't want to go through none of that, you know, and then like have to declare this and a third, you know, so I made it. It was a hard decision because the first instinct I had was to call the police, you know, and I don't, and you know, it was crazy. It was crazy, but it was a great learning experience. It gave me such motivation to do what I do even more, you know, go as harder. That's why I joined Block Tech. You know, that's why I'm joining, you know, all these cool projects and communities because I want to just give as much value as possible, you know, and do as much as I can to help people so they don't go through the things that I went through, you know, and they can just learn, you
No,
know.
I definitely do know, man. Now, where can people follow you and your content? Maybe get in touch with you. I know you're here in New Jersey, but you're not as close to me as I wish, man. But so, like, where can people get in touch with you, follow you, go to your meetups and things like that?
Well, you can definitely check out the New Jersey Blockchain Meetup group. They're freaking awesome. It's led by a man named Roman Cat. They need as much support from the community as possible. They're doing amazing things there. You know, you could check me out at BlockTech. I believe it's blocktech.com. You know, you could check out what we're doing. You know, we're doing conferences, events, meetups. We're going to be doing big things over there in New York City. And you can check me out at Instagram at I'm.the.guy. I post some things there, and you can reach out to me, you know, through Twitter. You know, it's at my last and first name, Guarderas Milton, Guarderas Milton, on Twitter, Vester Milton. And yeah, just check out my LinkedIn. That's the best way to get in contact with
Wow,
me.
you're really active on LinkedIn. Fuck, I feel like you should be wearing a blazer right now. I can't fuck with LinkedIn. Everyone's so serious, dude. It's like, I don't know, it's boring. I tried fucking with LinkedIn like maybe 2 years ago when I kind of was getting serious in this space and trying to get guests on the podcast, and I was just like, I I don't know. It felt uncomfortable because I'm the guy who wears the fucking unicorn headphones, right? I'm not LinkedIn comfortable. But dude, LinkedIn though, seriously, guys, if you're using it, it is a powerful tool in this industry right now, and I mean that sincerely. Like if you're a graphics designer, if you do audio engineering, if you do anything, if you do marketing, promotion, if you're a cashier at McDonald's, you do sales. Get a LinkedIn, try to get into this industry in any means possible that you can contribute, because there is a job for you in this industry right now. It's just waiting for you to apply. So hop on LinkedIn, see what companies are out there, and see where you fit in with their contributions to blockchain or this ecosystem in general. Milton, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, bro. I'm actually like, you got to go and book another day to come on, because this was fun, man. And I'm gonna try to get up to New York for one of the meetups, because I go to New York every once in a while for Alex Machinsky of Celsius Network. He does a meetup up there as well, so maybe I could put you guys in touch and you could do like something together, because he's really fucking cool.
Definitely. I love what I've heard about Celsius project, and that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to bridge networks. That's what we're trying to do. People who already have networks, things going, then why do we have to compete? We can all just work together. Yep. We have a common goal, and there's plenty to go around. We can't be really greedy. So let's just do what we need to do for the better of tomorrow.
Yeah, this space is really has a lot of synergy, and it has a lot more potential to be symbiotic rather than parasitic. A lot of companies that try to be parasites fail very quickly, as opposed to the companies that try to contribute where they can and get contributions from where they can. That's been proven. You can just backtrack that through any of these companies, like Monarch Wallet, with Total, Celsius, they have Bit Refill. There's so many of these things in one little package. It's like so unique that it has more potential than a company that wants to do everything under one umbrella and give 10 projects 10%, because they can't give 10 projects 100%. It ain't possible. Again, guys, go check out Investor Milton on Twitter. Holla at him, and everybody, don't forget to have a day.
Thanks, Ken.